going to do something a little bit different with this particular video. We're going to be doing a deck tech, if you will. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and kind of give you a list of every card that I'm putting in a new deck that I'm building for Garrek's Reavers that did pretty well a few months back. And that deck is available on Games Workshop's website as of this recording in May of 2018. Now, why did I basically steal a deck off the net deck, if you will, for use of a better term in the card game world? Well, I kind of wanted to take that opportunity to do that to show you guys that when you're starting out in Shadespire, and maybe even as an existing player, a lot of the heavy lifting is done for you if you start from a point where you can look at what other people have done and see what good cards they use. My thing that I like to do is I like to take a deck and see what people have done with it and then tweak it to my taste. And after a time, the deck will become something totally different than what that person was playing. Case in point, I've been playing Iron Skull's Boys pretty much since I started playing Shadespire. And that deck started out as the deck that won Adepticon. It looks nothing like the deck that won Adepticon now. But I really enjoy playing that deck, and it's my own unique creation. But having that foundation to see what I liked, what I didn't like, and what worked and didn't work for me for my playstyle based on that deck, it really helped. So let's get into this Garrek's Reavers deck and to show you a little bit about what's going on with it. So we're going to start with our objectives. We're going to be playing It Begins, and this says score in an end phase if at least one fighter from each warband is out of action. Just a good Khorne kill stuff card, and you want your stuff to die anyway, so stuff can get inspired. We have Draw the Gaze of Khorne. Score this immediately if your warband takes 2 or more enemy fighters out of action in this phase. Obviously, you can see where I'm going with this just from these first 2 objectives. Kill stuff. And Surprise, Blood for the Blood God. Score immediately if 3 or more of your fighters made a charge action in this phase. So yeah, just a lot of killing, and that's what this deck's going to do. I really liked that with the Oryx, and I really wanted to get some movement and do that. So I'm trying the Reavers. We also have Let the Blood Flow. Score this immediately if 3 or more of your fighters made a successful attack. Don't have to kill anything, just have to attack. Seems pretty good. Khorne Cares Not. Score this in an end phase if 5 or more fighters are out of action. Just things died. Yeah. When I whiff dice, I'm pretty good at getting things killed. Conquest. Score this in the third end phase if all your surviving fighters are in your opponent's territory. With as fast as the Reavers move, I think I can do that one. Ploy Master. Just a good one for anybody to have in their deck. Get it if you played some ploys. Brawl. Score this in the end phase if all friendly fighters, at least 3, are adjacent to enemy fighters. It's pretty easy to do because I have the movement. I don't even have to attack, just have to get there. And one that I always have mixed feelings about, which is Annihilation. It's a nice thing if it happens, but you can't always count on it. But man, that is a huge glory swing if it goes off. Denial. With the introduction of a certain card that we're going to talk about that's actually in this deck in a little bit, this may not be the easiest one to do. And this is still a throwback from that Grand Clash deck, but hey, if it happens, if I keep people out of my area or I'm playing somebody that likes to camp in their backfield, this is a pretty good card. Advancing Strike, it's one of the newer objectives from the last wave released. Score immediately if your warband takes an enemy fighter standing in enemy territory out of action. Just a good card to have. And finally, we have Superior Tactician. If I scored 6 or more other objective cards, I get this one. Seems pretty good to me because a lot of the Khorne cards just are play immediately, or, I think I can get 6 objectives scored. So those are my objectives. We're going to go into ploys now. We're going to start with Rebirth in Blood. Play this after an attack action or ploy takes your last surviving fighter out of action. You roll a defense dice. If you roll a shield or a crit, remove all wound tokens from them and place them on a starting hex in your territory. So this card, I have mixed feelings about it. Let me tell you a little bit of something. My deck is 30 cards, so I'm running a really high card count. This may be one of the first ones dropped. But what it does is it does keep stuff alive. It works like Soul Trap, cards like that, or Tethered Spirit. Just a way to keep guys alive, keep them from getting annihilation on me. Khorne Calls, I roll an extra attack dice for your first attack. Always better to roll dice. And to the point of denial, this is the card that I was talking about that kind of takes that out of the running for a lot of people. I'm running it just because it's a nice little trick, and that's Hidden Paths. It's in there because it gives me movement for free, which I like, or movement without using an activation. Let me put it that way. We have next, Fueled by Slaughter. Play this after an attack or ploy takes a fighter out of action. A friendly fighter can make an attack action. So just that action economy. There's a lot of that in this deck. We have the card we talked about in our first battle report that I and Heath both feel is just a phenomenal card, and that is Quick Thinker. You play this after an enemy fighter's move action, which, as you know, in a charge, there's a move and then an attack. So you basically deny them a activation with a guy because he's charged, he can't do anything, and you move him out of the way. Quick Thinker is a phenomenal card, one of my most favorite cards in the new releases. We have Daylight Robbery. And that one is you steal a glory. Heath used to play this when he played his Sepulchral Guard early on. Annoyed me to no end, so I'm putting it in to, if I play him, pay him back. We have Healing Potion, the good old Healing Potion. Does what it says on the tin. You roll a shield or a crit, you remove 2 wounds. If you don't, you remove 1. It's just good to have. Keeps guys alive a little longer. We have Trap. Trap, after you make an attack, it drives a fighter back. The enemy suffers 1 damage. This is good. I like this a little bit better than Twist the Knife for this deck because I'm rolling so many swords. There's a chance that I will connect with something, but it will still miss because they'll defend themselves. So this at least lets me plink away 1 wound with it. Boon of Khorne. Play this after a friendly fighter's attack action that takes an enemy fighter out of action. Remove all wound tokens from 1 friendly fighter. So this is nice because it's, again, keeping guys alive. Sidestep, some movement shenanigans. Choose a friendly fighter, push them 1 hex. Not that I need a lot of movement shenanigans, but hey, they're getting out of the way, or I want to not charge and get a free attack. Or not a free attack, but I want to, get a free move to get over there and not activate a guy and, remove him from being able to do more stuff. It's great for that. Skulls for the Skull Throne. Play this after a friendly fighter's attack action takes out an enemy fighter. Draw up to 2 power cards. So that is good. Anything that draws you more cards is great, and they are in relatively short supply in the game. And running a deck like this, you're going to need every chance to draw more cards that you can get. Final Blow. Play this after an enemy fighter's attack action that takes an adjacent fighter out of action. Their attacker suffers 1 damage. Again, kind of like Trap, plinking away at wounds when I can. Duel of Wits. Play this when an opponent plays a ploy. Draw 2 power cards. Again, more card draw. Great. Spoils of Battle. Play an upgrade card. This doesn't cost a glory point. That is our final ploy. That is a great card to get early on in the game if you can, or if you spend all your glory, go ahead and get something on somebody. So next, into the upgrades, we have Shade Glass Axe. That is in my Iron Skulls Boys deck as well. It's just good. Yes, it goes away. There are other Shade Glass weapons, but they all have a thing that makes them go away. It still hits really hard. It converts maybe one of my weaker guys into hitting with hammers and hitting a little harder. So that's pretty good, but it also gives me a ranged attack, which I don't really have much of in this deck, minus Karsus. We have Grizzly Trophy. When this fighter takes an enemy fighter out of action, gain 1 glory point. That is exclusive to Garrek, but you want to be upgrading Garrek and getting some good stuff on him. We have one that's exclusive to Targor, which is Deadly Spin. Anything that lets you make attacks against a bunch of people is great. Even if it doesn't do the best damage, it's just good. We have Great Strength. You know it, you love it. Give it +1 damage to anything is good. Whirlwind of Death. +1 damage to all attack actions with a range of 1 or 2, and that is only for Karsus. Again, it's just a strength buff. Here's one that I'm not really sold on, but I have it in there because why not? And we'll try it. And that is Hero Slayer. And you only get to roll 1 dice, but of course, unless you play other cards that let you do something, roll more dice. But when you hit, it's killing something. So it's worth a try. I've had it used on me, and it is pretty nasty. Hurts the Stormcast pretty bad, so it's in there for that. All right, Acrobatic. Basically, it says if a fighter has a dodge defense characteristic or has a shield defense characteristic but is on guard, you get to roll an extra defense dice. It's good. Let you guys stay alive. Something maybe to put on Garrek or Blooded Sake. Things like that. Soul Trap. You want to put that on somebody that you don't want dying. Chance to keep them alive. It's a good card. You know it probably because you're probably running it in your own decks because it's a good card. Berserk Charge. This makes Sake disgusting because both swords and hammers are successes when he makes a charge. And that means the only thing you're missing on are supports. That is incredibly good. It's basically like a hitting on 3s. Then we have Blessed Armor. If you roll a crit when a fighter is targeted by an attack, I remove 1 token from them. It's just a way to keep guys alive. That one's another one I'm on the fence about, but it's in there to try it. Blood Slick for Garrek, +1 defense. It's good. I like that Corn stuff is just making them slick with blood, and that's how they defend themselves. Frenzy, you roll an extra attack dice when this fighter makes a charge. It's good. Anytime you can roll more dice, you're good to go. Then we have Awakened Weapon. You can reroll 1 attack dice each time this fighter makes an attack. It's a good card. I use it in the orcs a lot. It's just very good. Being able to reroll dice in this game is very rare and is a very huge swing if it goes off. Can always help you. Or you can even have a success and then roll that dice, roll another dice and get that you were needing to reroll that maybe wasn't a success, roll into a crit or something like that and just seal the deal. It's pretty good. And then finally, we have Great Fortitude, +1 wound. Just a good card to have in any deck. So guys, that is it. This is what you will be seeing in my next upcoming battle report whenever we get that recorded. Just kind of wanted to give you a preview of what you could expect to see in my deck. I know in our first one, we just had a rundown of a list of the cards that were in the decks, and we'll do that for the ones in the future as well, but at least with this way, you can kind of see what's going to be brought to the table. Until we see you again, this is GM Tuck wishing you all happy hobbying.